Welcome to my channel Film Recaps. Today, I am going to explain a movie called But I'm a Cheerleader. The movie opens with Megan finishing cheerleading practice. She hangs out with her boyfriend Jared. Soon after, the couple got into Jared's car. While Jared passionately eats them whole, and this one is whole with Megan. To endure this sloppy mess, she starts thinking of her fellow cheerleaders. Later that night, Megan and her family have dinner. Her father secretly leads the prayer. She points out that Megan should choose the straight girl path. Megan realized, but she was determined. She ignores it. When she goes to school the next day, her parents start planning something for her. At school, Megan met her friend and Jared near the locker. Jared kisses Megan and leaves. Megan then told her friend that she hates it when men do it. After Megan leaves, her friend opens Megan's locker and takes a poster from it. After school, Jared picked up Megan and slowly drove to her house. Arriving at her home, Megan is surprised to find her loved ones waiting for her inside. It turned out that they were holding an intervention conference regarding her lesbian behavior. After asking what happened and if anyone died, Mike stepped forward and told Megan everything. Mike is a former homosexual and lecturer at True Directions, a correctional facility. Homosexual behavior in teens. In real life, the actor who plays Mike is actually famous because he's a drag queen named RuPaul. He asks Megan to sit down and begins to intervene. Megan is confronted by her loved ones that she is a lesbian, and she tries to deny it. After she was presented with evidence suggesting she was a lesbian, Megan's parents tell her to go to True Directions. She refuses. The next day, Megan was on her way to the True Directions facility in her parents' car. While driving, Megan notices some hot cheerleaders. When they arrive at the facility, True Directions founder Mary and her son Rock welcome them. Megan's parents leave the house and she goes to True Directions' house to watch the welcome video. Megan's parents leave the house and she goes to True Directions' house to watch the welcome video. The video she's watching is about Kelly and her journey of existence, from lesbians to straight women. Thanks to all of you for the success of the transformation. True Directions Guide and its simple 5-step program. After watching the video, Megan is introduced to her 5 steps program. The program's first step is to admit that she is gay. Mary makes Megan wear a strange dress until she admits she is a lesbian. Hillary, another student at the institution, is then called in and asks Megan to show her around her house. Hillary briefs Megan on her daily routine and schedule and takes her to her dorm. At the dormitory, Megan meets another student named Graham, and she tells Megan, if she is found to be perverted, she will be removed from the program. Afterwards, Megan met with other students at the facility. One of them is Rufio. She wants to know when she became a lesbian, she asks. Noticing Megan's denial, Mary asks her to share the issues discussed during her intervention. Megan tells them she's a vegetarian. She has pictures of women nearby, but she has never had a good time with her boyfriend. The rest of the students start questioning Megan about these issues and tell her so. That's not what straight girls do. After a while, Megan noticed this and narrowed her eyes. She wasn't normal, and she finally admitted she was gay, while supporting everyone. Unhappily accepts her homosexuality and completes the first steps of the True Direction program. Rock comes in shorts and has a drink. His mother Mary told him to drink it, like a man. It feels like both characters are holding back their true desires. Later that night, as Megan tried to fall asleep, she heard someone moan. She stood up to find Cinia doing aversion therapy on herself. The next day, Mary revealed that the second step was for the students to rediscover their own lives. Gender identity. Graham is the rebel of the group and Mary is in trouble with her. The girls go with Mary to learn about house cleaning, wedding dress, and makeup. Meanwhile, the boys watch as Mike fixes the car. When they cut a tree, They all hold onto it. One of them accidentally threw his axe backwards. In their war reenactment, there are some very impressive cutout figures. Later in the day, students will be asked to find a partner and build friendships with their chosen ones. Megan and Graham eventually become partners against their will. Each group will practice tonight. Be candid with Mary's flashcards. Graham and Megan don't seem to like each other very much. The next day, while the boys are playing sports, Rock suddenly appears with a chainsaw and a rake. Rock stares at them, and they grow agitated. Return to them and begins sensually stroking the shaft of the rake. Mike reprimands the boys for their behavior while curbing their gay desires. The next day, students will participate in step 3 of the program with their parents. That's family therapy. They talk about their homosexual tendencies in front of my parents, who were uncomfortable hearing it. Graham's father couldn't stand it and said he hated such stories. He then warns Graham before leaving the conference back in Switzerland. Megan then explains how she became a lesbian, which she believes is her father's fault. Mary agrees, saying Megan became a lesbian because her father was castrated. Mary says she doesn't respect men because Megan doesn't respect her father. Megan denies all of this. To solve her lesbian problem, Mary asks her to write her song. Later in the day, Mike gets super excited to see Rock doing manly things. Ender chooses. He makes a paper plane with an invitation from a gay group and hides it in Hillary. Meanwhile, Megan turns to Graham for comfort over what's happening to her family, previous therapy session. Graham has been open about his feelings, stating that his entire program is like that. Bull. She says her only secret to her success is avoiding being caught doing gay acts. At night, Megan dreams of her flirting with Graham, and she wakes up. She then decides to free herself from her desires. Then Megan noticed something moving. Nearby table. As she approached, she noticed Dolph and Clayton kissing on the floor. She starts screaming, and a microphone comes in while 2 boys try to silence her. Megan says to Mike about what she saw. Then Mike takes the boys to Mary's room. Mary sends Clayton as punishment, put in a cell that was literally a kennel. Dolph was to leave the facility in the morning. Students then begin on step 4 of the program, and it's about unlocking the mysteries of the opposite sex. Mary is giving a class on how normal it is couples act after that. Megan and Graham become close. At night, Megan finds Graham sneaking out and trying to get somewhere. After initial hesitation, Megan decides to join them. A van is waiting nearby, and the group gets in. That van belongs to Lloyd and Larry, an alumnus of the True Directions facility. Teenagers are taken to gay bars and allowed to do whatever they want. Moments later, a woman approaches Megan to dance, and when Graham encourages her, she agrees. Graham then dances with Sinead, making Megan jealous. She then walks out of the gay bar, but Graham quickly follows her outside. After conveying their feelings for each other, Graham kisses Megan. The two continue flirting until it's time for her to come home. Arriving at True Directions' house, the group rushes to bed and pretends to be asleep. Mary checks on them, finds nothing unusual, and walks away. The next morning, at Mike's meeting, we find out that Jean is not gay at all. She just wants a big fat male member instead of her own flower. She has always been attracted to men, she says. Mike teases her, and she runs off. While cleaning the girls' dormitory, Mary found a box of matches from a gay bar frequented by teenagers. She confronts her students and asks who sneaked off with Larry and Lloyd. She didn't respond to anyone, so Mary decided to reveal that she found it under Graham's bed. To avoid trouble, Graham lies to Joel about his feelings for him. Mary is happy, but she still decides to set up her visit with the other students' parents. Megan later meets her parents and learns that she will be kicked out if she doesn't graduate from the program. She lies by saying that Megan doesn't need her parents to take care of anything. The next day, Mary takes her students to confront Larry and Lloyd. Later that night, Graham and Megan begin pretending to be straight. They keep doing this. It will take place over the next few days while the rest of the program activities are handled on their behalf. Mary then gathers the students and tells them they all passed, except Andrew. Andrew is devastated, and Joel tries to comfort him. He says Andrew, more than wimpy. Andrew turned over in a very cheeky way and said, "No one changes." That night, Megan and Graham get so frustrated that they decide to flirt. Indulged in passionate desire, the two are unaware that Sinead is watching them. In the morning, when Megan wakes up, an angry Mary appears in front of her. In Mary's office, Megan must make a choice for her. She can stay and graduate, which she agrees to adult simulation activities in skirts. She tells Mary it won't work and turns her attention to her window. As it turned out, and I try to stop the lock, but I can't hear it because of my headphones. Next, Mary tells Graham and her parents. She then offers Megan the same deal she made earlier. After a while, Megan finds Graham outside the house after packing up, with his parents and Mary. After all, Graham accepted Mary's offer. Megan is shocked and decides to leave the facility and go to Larry and Lloyd's house. They let her into her house, but she says Megan wants them to show her how to be a lesbian. Dolph joins shortly after, and she is delighted to see Megan. The next day, Graham fulfills his trading objectives and undergoes an adult simulation activity comes with a skirt. Rock wobbly over Graham is very annoying. Later that night, Megan and Dolph. I'm back at the gay bar. Megan is devastated without Graham, but Graham comforts her. The day of the graduation ceremony has finally arrived. Graham and girls. Once Mary made sure they were ready, they would finish dressing and makeup. In the meantime, Dolph and Megan prepare their camouflage uniforms and are on their way to pick up Graham and Clayton. Students and their parents arrive for graduation. Mike and Rock. I change clothes and prepare for the program. Megan and Dolph are coming and fetching position. Graduation begins and Mary introduces her new straight. As Megan walks down the aisle, she grabs Graham and tells him she's here to pick him up. Graham declines and attends the ceremony again. On the other hand, Clayton is already flirting with Dolph and walks out. Disappointed, but still determined. Megan decides to persuade Graham again. Mary begins giving graduation awards to her students. While she's about to start her closing, note, Megan appears in a cheerleading outfit. Notice Mary's surprised reaction. Everyone is turning around. Megan calls Graham and begins cheering him on. She tells Graham that she loves him, and when Mary tries to stop her, she runs off. Graham runs to Megan, and the two make up as they leave true directions. Some time later, Megan's father Peter attends a gathering for gay parents and friends. He introduces himself and proudly admits that his daughter is gay. Here movie ends. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow at the same time.